All right, we're going to take some time and go over our combining like terms. This is the notes that we did. So for combining like terms, you'll often see us putting CLT just as a shorter way to reference that. So when we're doing that, remember this is when we are adding and subtracting different integers and coefficients and variables. So if they have the same sign, two positives or two negatives, make sure you add those and keep the sign. If they are different signs, a positive and a negative, you'll subtract, and then whichever one was the higher number, then you will keep that sign. So going through our steps, we're going to first draw lines in front of each variable coefficient to separate all the terms. Then we'll color all the like terms with the same color. Put each group of like terms together. And we'll simplify each group into one single term. So let's go through a few of the examples here. So first, on number 1, I'm going to draw lines. The best thing that this does for me is it takes and it separates all my terms with the correct symbol in front. So this is a negative 5a, a positive 3a. So you have addition and subtraction symbols. All those do right now is they serve as the sign to show you whether it's a positive or a negative. So now I am highlighting each one. All the A's I made blue. All of the constants without any variable with it, I'm going to do as orange. So I've got a -2, -12. And then I'll use yellow for B. So I have -4B and a positive 6B. Okay, all this does is this helps me remember what goes with what so that I'm not missing anything on accident. So for my terms that have an A variable with it, I've got a -5a, then I have positive 3a, so we'll just put plus 3a, and then we have a positive 1a, and I can always, when it's just plus a, I can slide a 1 in right there to make that a 1a, means the same thing, so plus 1a. Then I'll go ahead and list them all out first. I'm going to do my B's next. I have a -4B and a positive 6B. And last for my constants, I have a -2 and then a -12. And I can write that as -12, or I can write that as plus a -12, whichever one makes more sense to you, that works. Now I need to simplify each group into one single term. So I have a -5a, then I have two positives for the a, positive 3a and a positive 1. Those would go together to make 4a, but when I put that with a -5a, the negative is still larger than the positive, so I end up with a -1a. Looking at my B's, I have a -4b and a positive 6. So remember, they are different signs. I will subtract. So 6 minus 4 gives me 2. The positive one is larger, so that's a positive 2b. And then for my constants, I have a -2 and a -12. They're the same sign, so I will add them together to get 14. And both of those have a negative, so that will be a negative as well. The last thing I'll do is write it as one simplified expression. So there's a -1a plus 2b minus 14. That's as simplified as we can make it. And that's our first example there. The second one I'll go through and we'll combine some of the steps a little bit for you. So again, I'll separate with my lines. I'm still going to highlight, do the colors on it, So c squared, another c squared. Then I have just a regular old c. Remember, those have a negative in front of them. And then I've got a positive 5 as a constant and a positive 8 as a constant. So the part I'm going to skip is putting all of the like terms together and listing them, just because we can see there's a 2c squared here and a 3c squared here. So those are both positive, and I can say, well, if there's 3c squareds and 2c squareds, put those together, and that would be 5c squared. My next terms, I've got a negative c and another negative c. So with those, there's two of them, just one negative, and again, I can slide that 1 in there if that helps you think about it. So there's negatives, both negative, there's two of them, so negative 2c. And then for my yellow, my constants, I've got both positives again, so I do 8 plus 5, which would be a positive 13. Okay, then we're done. That takes out a lot of the writing. One of the things I'll also do sometimes is, as I use up these terms, use up the c squareds, I'll cross them out just to make sure as I go along that I've used every single one. Now my last part, when I'm finding perimeter, I need to add up everything all the way around. So I have two of the sides labeled. We'll assume that this is a regular rectangle, so that means this side would also be 2x, and the bottom side here would be 3x minus 2. Now, as we work along on this, you start to notice your patterns, and what I'm seeing here is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms that have a positive x. So I can just go along and add them up. There's 3x, 4, 5x, 6, 7, 8x, 9, 10. Gives me 10 x's. And I will, since I've used those 4, cross them out. Then I have a negative 2 and a negative 2, which gives me a negative 4. Oh, I didn't put my x there. So 10x minus 4. And that is the simplified version of our perimeter. Mark those out since I used them. Now you could take and list all of these terms out and simplify and cross them out and work it down. Either way, it's whatever works best for you. You could also highlight on this as well to do that. But that is all of our steps that you'll do when you are combining like terms.